Africa tonight, democracy faces its test. From Dar es Salaam to Dakar, while Africa's digital future, creative voices and sporting triumph tell a different story, one of challenge, courage, and change. This is the African News Update on Top Accolade News. For headlines, Tanzania'S election day, overshadowed by opposition arrests. Senegal lawmakers hold treason bid against former President Sall. Cameroon opposition cries fraud after Biya wins 8th term. South Africa leads global push for digital equality at G20 summits. We open in East Africa. Tanzanians headed to the polls on Wednesday in a tense national election marked by arrest of opposition leaders and growing international concerns over democratic freedoms. President Samia Suluhu Hassan, seeking a second term under the long-ruling CCM party, faces a fractured opposition after Tundu Lissu's imprisonment and several candidate disqualification. Amnesty International warns of a climate of fear, while observers urge fairness from electoral authorities. With 37 million registered voters, the ballot tests not just Hassan's leadership, but Tanzania's promise of democracy itself. From East Africa's ballot tension to West Africa's political chessboard, Senegal's National Assembly has dismissed a motion to charge former President Macky Sall with high treason, citing a procedural flaw that altered the case. The proposal accused Sall of hiding $7 billion in debt and breaching budget laws. The rule spares Sall from immediate prosecution, but underscores a deeper truth in Senegalese politics. Sometimes it's not innocence that wins, but the paperwork. To the burning anger on Cameroon's streets. Cameroon's opposition leader Issa Chiroma Bakary has rejected President Paul Biya's declared re-election as a picture's victory, vowing to resist after the 92-year-old leader secured an 8th term in power. At least 10 people have been killed and over 200 arrested as violent protests spread across several cities following the Constitutional Council's ruling. Authorities accuse Chiroma of inciting unrest, while he urged an end to killings and arbitrary arrests. After 43 years in office, Biya's rule remained a symbol of endurance and of a democracy that risks forgetting how to change. From politics to economics, South Africa steps onto the world stage with a call to connect the disconnected. As the first African nation to host the G20 summit, South Africa has placed digital transformation at the heart of its global agenda, calling for affordable connectivity, digital upskilling, and ethical AI to bridge the global digital divide. Communications Minister Soli Malatsi affirmed that connectivity is no longer a privilege, but a prerequisite for growth, echoing the country's drive to uplift the global south through innovation and inclusivity. You're watching the African News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. A global author finds his voice is too loud for one major country. Nigerian Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka says the United States has revoked his visa and barred him from entry after embassy officials requested his passport for cancellation, citing new information. The 91-year-old author, who renounced his U.S. green card in 2016 to protest Donald Trump's election, linked the move to his sharp criticism of Trump. The U.S. Embassy declined comment, but Soyinka's rebuke carried poetic sting. When dictators fear words, they cancel visas, not ideas. To conflict now, and the price of silence in Sudan grows deadlier by the day. The European Union has condemned Sudan's rapid support forces for what it called brutality under the capture of El Fasher, citing reports of ethnic killings and the death of 5 Red Crescent volunteers in Kordofan. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas urged the RSF to protect civilians and guarantee aid access as the paramilitary group tightens its grip after an 18-month siege. With famine spreading and aid officials expelled, Sudan's agony deepens, a war devouring its people while the world watches in horror. A continent mourns an online star gone too soon. Mombasa-based TikTok star Miriam Antoinette Luwendi, known as Digda, has died just hours after going live on TikTok, leaving fans stunned and grief-stricken. Renowned for her lively banter and food videos, Digda repeatedly suffered a sudden spike in blood pressure before being rushed to the hospital where she passed away. A final post, a collage of her culinary creation, now feels poetic. In the digital world that moves fast, her death reminds fans that even the brightest screens can go dark in an instant. And finally, the sound of progress from the pitch. Cape Verde and Malawi have made history by qualifying for the first ever Women's African Cup of Nations, joining holders Nigeria and 12 other teams at next year's expanded 16-team tournament in Morocco. Malawi sealed a 2-0 aggregate win over Angola, while Cape Verde overturned a deficit to beat Mali 4-3 overall. The milestone comes as a new dawn for women's football on the continent, proof that the African game is widening its embrace, one goal at a time. From locked up leaders to unlocked dreams, Africa reminds the world that silence the voice, amplify the fight. I'm Ojarumi Okocha, and this is the African News Update on Top Accolade News, keeping you connected to the pulse of the continent.